be fair, I got to point out the reviews when the album came out, universally, almost without exception, were glowing. I mean, people really, the critics, whatever that means to you guys at the time, thought it was fabulous work.
Bad reviews sting.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Never a bump in the road. I hear an echo. Yes, they do.
Those fabled electrical audio acoustics is what you're hearing.
Yeah.
No, but it was appreciated when it came out. And of course, one of the difficulties is that once Kurt died, everybody had to go back and parse through In Utero and read lyrics like they're tea leaves leading you somewhere. Yeah. And that feels like a recipe for incredible bullshit and misunderstanding.
You can do it with Soundgarden lyrics too. But,
Yeah, it's strange. When we were making the record, we did all of the instrumental tracks first. I don't know if Kurt sang any of the songs live. It was all just the three of us doing the instrumental tracks first, live in a room, without really having ever heard what Kurt was going to sing, or even how he was going to sing it, like his melodies and patterns. That most of these things I just listened to them as instrumentals. So it was always exciting, like a mystery, knowing like, oh, he's in there singing this track today, and wondering what it was going to sound like when he was finished. And one of Kurt's amazing abilities was not just that he was a great lyricist, but he had a really specific kind of signature melodic turn of phrase. So he always braided really two simple lines together, I think, in a way that was almost unpredictable. And he would go from like maybe a gentle voice to a scream, or maybe a minor key to a major, but he would do it in this way that was like really beautifully patterned, which I always thought was really cool and really simple. Ultimately, most everything that he did, I thought was simple, but really smart, Anyway, so you would hear these things as they came back, and you would hear, for the first time, his melodic idea, but also the lyric. And every time I would hear it for the first time, I'd think, that's just odd. That's unusual. It's a weird, what a strange thing to say. What does that mean? But as the drummer, of course, I'm like, shit, did I slow down in the chorus? Now, fuck, my kick drum's too, I still to this day, if I listen to that record, I'll find things or I'll feel things that I didn't necessarily feel 25 years ago. Not just in light of everything that had happened, but of course that, everything that did happen can, kind of screw the lens a little bit or distort maybe what it felt like before and what it feels like now. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a slippery slope. It's easy to look back at that stuff and
There's a thing that people don't give Kurt credit for enough, which is that, like, a lot of people think of his lyrical sensibility as just being a journal of his feelings, right? He was an artist, and he was incorporating stuff from, other things, other influences, bands and records that he admired, stuff that he'd read, like literature. There's a line in one of the songs, I think it's most babies smell like butter. Is that, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I was like, what a weird observation. Did you like smell a baby? And like, he just had a kid, right? And I found out that was a near direct quote from a book that he'd read about a guy who had this sort of sensory experience of the world that was abnormal. And,
Scentless Apprentice.
Yeah, Scentless Apprentice, a track on In Utero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, and then like he's from Seattle, and Francis Farmer is a tragic figure, a local person to Seattle area. Like a lot of lore involved, and there had been recently come to light a lot of the sort of manipulative stuff that had been done to her during her career to try to manage her career. Like you can see that there are parallels there where there, like he may have been feeling pressures from outside people trying to manage his artistic expression for their benefit, and seeing a parallel between his life and Frances Farmer's life, and then using her as a figure, and
it's such a great title for a song.
Yeah, and that image of leaving a blanket of ash, burn all the assholes and leave a blanket of ash on the ground.
But and also it felt like a little bit of a reaction to, I read somewhere once, I think that there was so many just one name songs, and that Kurt was really interested in like going the other way. So Frances Farmer will have her revenge, or the ghost of Frances will have her revenge on Seattle, just as this, or as a radio-friendly, shipping unit. These were attempts to say, I'm reacting to this cute moment we're in, where everything is just one word.
And he was aware of that as a trope, and he was playing, and he played with it. There was one song he wanted to call "Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol Roll Through the Strip."
Yeah, we had that jam. Yeah, we did that, and
is there much?
He also wanted to be cryptic. Like he didn't want to be like be dated or be put in like some kind of box or something. So he also was just cryptic, and that allowed people to just invite people in to make their own interpretation of it. Then if you look at his other forms of expression, like Steve said, like Kurt was an artist, and he was a great painter. He was a sculptor. He would do comic books, and he's more than happy to walk you through every panel of like a comic he did. And they were always just tragic figures, the people, and they were, or just weird, like writhing spirit apparition kind of, everything was just kind of strange and dark and weird, but very well done, beautiful, very, done very well. So that was when he was expressing himself musically, is that, in uteros, that's all over In Utero.
I can go anywhere in the world, walk anywhere in the world, anywhere, and see someone walking down the street in a Nirvana t-shirt. And we're here in Chicago. We were walking last night to go get a bite to eat, saw someone in a Nirvana t-shirt. But I could be in, I could be on Guam and just see someone randomly walk by in a Nirvana t-shirt. And what always strikes me about these moments is that there's this massive projection that happens, which is Nirvana, Legend, Kurt. It all gets prismed out, and it gets so huge. And then I talk to you guys, and he's your friend that you knew intimately. You guys were very close. And it's all become so much bigger. There are people out there that have opinions, strong opinions about who he was and what he meant and what you guys meant. And it must just seem surreal to you at times. Like, no, that was our friend. There was three of us. We were in a van together, and it has now become this IMAX projection on the world.
When my kids sometime will ask me, let's say, my daughter Harper and I were driving in the car not long ago, 6 months ago, and a Nirvana song came on. And we don't listen to Nirvana at home. This Nirvana song comes on, she's singing along to the words. And I'm thinking, wow, that's weird. I've never heard her listen to a Nirvana song. How does she know a Nirvana song? And she says, she said, Dad, how old were you when you made this song? I said, God, I think I was like 22, maybe. She goes, oh, how old was Kurt? I said, I think he was maybe like 23, 24. And she goes, what was he like? And I'd say, well, he was really nice. He was kind of shy, sometimes quiet, but he was cool.
And she can get super pissed off.
Yeah. But she says, well, he was shy. Was he shy around people that he knew or people that he didn't know? And I said, well, kind of a little bit of both. And she said, God, that's so strange that someone who feels shy like that could write these songs and sing them for everyone to hear and then stand on stage in front of 100,000 people and play them. I thought that was so cool because I think she wasn't looking so much at that other thing.
Yep.
She was looking at the person, right? And, you know, after Nirvana was over, that curtain got sort of pulled away. So it changed the way I thought about every other mythological rock star that I'd ever followed in my entire life. And it really made me realize, oh shit, they were an actual human being. We talked like they're playing cards or something like that, but they're just people.